Hey everybody, welcome back to another Code Quick video. In this video we're going to be talking about HTML headings. Okay, so I've got a bunch of HTML headings set out already, and this is the whole range of HTML headings you can get. So we start with a H1 tag and a closing H1 tag as well, and we can have our content in the middle. Now these headings go from H1 all the way down to H6. And as you can see over here in the web page, a H1 is the biggest heading and a H6 is the smallest heading. Now, usually the default way of building web pages is that you tend to have one H1 heading at the top of your page, and this is going to be the main title for your page. And then your subheadings tend to be H2s, H3s, H4s, and so on. Now, these complete elements can also have attributes added to them as well. So you could add a class, for example, and call this your heading 1. And then you could style that heading individually with your CSS. What I'm going to show you to do, like I said, one of the common questions is how to make a heading centered. So I will show you how to do that quickly using CSS. Now I've got a H1 heading here, and there's many ways to do things in HTML and CSS, but this example I'm going to create a div. And you can think of a div as being like an empty box, and I'm going to give this div a class of what should we call it? Let's call it the heading. Okay, you can call this anything you want. Okay, but I've got a div there and it's got a class of heading, and this is how you write classes. Class equals an opening, closing, commas, and then your name here, which can be anything. Okay, so now I've got a div and I've got my H1 inside of a div. So if I save this, my H1 stays here. If I want to make this centered, I can come over to my CSS. I can select my class with a full stop, and the name of it, which was, did we call it heading? I can't remember now actually. We called it heading, yeah, okay, so we called it heading. Open up my curly braces, and then I can say text align center. And if I click save, that will move my heading to the center. Okay, just to show you what's going on, if I create a background color, and let's choose that royal blue that comes up first. Now you can see this is the whole div that we created here. Okay, so this div called class heading, this is the whole div here, and the H1 is in the center there. So the div spans the whole way across, and then we can specify in the CSS that we want the text align, the element within inside that div, to be in the center. Okay, we could change that to right, and it should push it over to the right. So that is one basic way how you would center a heading. We could also change the color of the heading just by specifying color, and should we set it to salmon? Let's try that. And that is how you color a heading as well, basically. Okay, now with CSS you tend to get into CSS grid and CSS flexbox, which tend to get a little bit more complicated, but that is just the basic way how to center a H1 element using the text align center of the div element. So that is it. I will leave it there for this lesson. As I've shown you, headings are made up of an opening H tag and a closing H tag, and this can go from H1 all the way to H6. So there we are. I'll leave it there for this lesson. Please like the video and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one.